Well, hello everyone, welcome to this, which is a floral study today. I'm using the Canson Mi Teintes the Canson Mi Teintes paper, not the touch. So this is a non-sanded paper, as you can see by the pattern that is showing through my pastels here. And we're just going to quickly rough out the basics of this rose, and then we will rub this into the paper once I've got all this colour down, and then we will layer over the top. Now obviously this is a non-sanded paper, so we're going to be keeping this with a light touch, so we're not applying loads and loads of layers, and that means also not a lot of detail. So we're not going to be going in there with pencils or pastel pencils or hard pastels or anything along those lines, because realistically I want to keep this nice and easy. So you can see here, this is a gorgeous pink. I'm absolutely loving this colour, and it's a really good base colour for this. I'm just layering it down around the kind of doing the shapes of the petals, but yeah, kind of keeping it simple, kind of just going. The shape of the rose is round-ish, but it's kind of elongated, and whilst it has this black background, I'm probably not going to stick with that. You know me, I do like to change things up, so that's going to be one of them. So we're just marking in this here, because the leaves are all together, and in quite a kind of tangled motion, and because it's so dark, the background's so dark, you can't really see where the leaves start and finish. So I'm just generally doing a kind of tangle of foliage underneath, which honestly I think will work anyway. I'm going to use this gorgeous neutral. This is a neutral grey pink brown. Unbelievably, it has pink tones in it, it has brown tones in it, but it is essentially a grey, and I just think that's going to give a better background than a dark colour. Now I'm just smudging this out. So I'm just using my finger to rub this into the paper, just basically to really push it into the tooth so I can work over the top. And yeah, it's messy. I'm going to get this all over my fingers, but that's fine. I mean, you don't have to use non-sanded paper for these sorts of studies, but it is a cheaper option. I'm using a tiny piece from one sheet from the Canson Mi Teintes pad, which is neutrals, so it's lots of different grey colours, which is why it looks a bit grey in the video here, because it is a grey toned piece of paper. And you can achieve so much with it if you're just careful and you know what you're doing. You practice with it, you play with it, you can push yourself with it, and then you can see what you can get. This is one of my favourite greens. I absolutely love this green. It is a blue green. It's actually very similar to the colour in the photo, the reference photo, but obviously it will be looking quite dark here. Whilst I have got my studio lights, I didn't use it for this video. I just decided to go with the daylight. I don't know about you guys and where you've been, but today, which obviously is not today when you see this video, but on the day in question, it was pretty sunny where we were, and a toasty 16 degrees, which is pretty unusual for us at this time of year. But it was nice to have, don't get me wrong, but it meant I had enough sunlight bouncing off the whitewashed walls of the cottages opposite, in through my big windows, and that gave me, as you can see, quite a lot of light. So I'm just kind of marking it. There's these little green, almost like green tips to the final petals. So it's not leaves, and it's not the kind of shell of the shell bits of the bud of the flower. It is genuinely the last final petals of this rose has got little green tips to it, which I just thought was really sweet and kind of just added another dimension. You know, classically you always get the traditional, it's a pink rose, so it's all pinks, and then there's nothing else involved. And in this, you can see I've kept my palette very simple, and I'm going to be using the same palette for all 4 studies that I'm doing. So you'll be able to see the same colours being used, which is really nice and easy. So if you guys want to follow along, you can see the colours. And it's a really simplified colour palette. So I tried to not go all out. So kind of starting from right to left, we've got white, which is what I'm currently using here now. And that is the brightest and lightest tone that I've got. Then next to that, is that what I'm using? Am I using the yellow? I might be using the... Oh no, I was using the yellow. So the first one I've got is the white. Then I've got a very pale pink, which has a slight blue tone to it. So it's a cooler pink, not a warmer pink. Next to that, I have a mid-tone pink, which is a warmer pink. And you can see that in the middle of the rose where I've got it. And then I have this dark kind of rose red. So it's not, it's a very strong kind of deep fuchsia coloured pink red tone. It's absolutely gorgeous, as you can see. And then obviously next in line I have a pale yellow white, which just basically is a nice cream, and that just helps warm it up because the white I've got is just a pure brilliant white, almost like I refer to it as a Daz white for those of you that understand that terminology. And the yellow white just kind of warms it up, and you'll see a bit more of that in the white rose that I do on one of the other studies. Then obviously next to that along the top we've got our neutral pink, brown, grey, and then we've got our beautiful blue toned dark green. We've then got a mid-toned moss green, so that's a yellow brown green, and then we've got a light yellow green, which basically just provides those highlights on the leaves. And you can see the difference when you actually have a real rose. You'll know that the smallest leaves that are the freshest on the stem tend to be this almost lime yellowy green colour versus the darker blue-green colour of the leaves lower down the stem. It works really well because it does give you this gorgeous range of colours to work with. But like I said, I'm doing this with a limited palette, and this works really well with what we're doing. So make sure you join me again for my next study. Hopefully you'll appreciate I'm doing a couple of different ones with different reference photos, but all with the same palette so you can follow along, and I will see you all soon for another study. Ta-ta for now.